Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Ask Me Anything SiteSwan webinar. I'm SiteSwan co founder Justin, and I'm here to help you get all your questions answered if you got any for me. Also, of course, I want to bring you all together to make sure that whatever's going on in your web design career, you can hopefully get some answers or support on during today's chat. Lots of you I see are first timers, which is great to see. Others of you are, I'm going to say, veterans at this point of these calls. So I see some brand new names, which gets me very excited. I want everyone to go into the questions tab. That's how you're going to communicate with me and my moderators during today's chat. There are at least 3 moderators here to help you. Yeah, 3 as of the moment. So any question you have will get addressed, should get addressed, unless it's a question that's just so far off topic, we can't get to it. No, we usually get to all the questions. I want to make sure that you find the questions tab because I want to start the conversation off today by hearing a little bit about you. More specifically, I want to hear one win, something positive that happened in your web design business since the last time you were on one of these or since you've started with SiteSwan. For those of you who are brand new, and just to quickly look at some names here, I see Fred's brand new. I believe Joe, I think you're brand new. Um, Augusto, I think you're relatively new. I want everyone to tell me something that has happened that is positive in their web design venture. So if you're new, it's going to be something like, "Oh, I just caught some of the training videos." If you're a veteran, you're going to tell me about a sale or a lead or a prospect or something positive that's happened in since the last time we did one. We tend to do these calls every couple of weeks, and it's a great way to kick things off to make sure that we are all on the same page here. So, starting from the top, Justin says, a big win for us is we just hit our 10th web design client. Bravo. Nice job. And it came in from our website form submission. First form submission that led to a paying client. That's awesome. And they signed on for an 8-page website. Out of curiosity, Justin, did they indicate if they found you purely through a search or did they say they were a referral? Because usually around that 10th website, you're starting to close some deals from referrals. And I'm curious if maybe it was a referral of someone who just happened to, submit their information through the site as opposed to reaching out to you directly. So I would love to see that. Also, just a reminder for my moderators: if you see someone is replying to a post, just let them finish, and then you can jump on to the next one. We have a win from Fred, who has posted on Facebook, has joined 3 groups and posted in those groups. So Fred is talking about what we recommend in the 14-day launch plan. If you guys are currently not on the 14-day launch plan, get on it. It's right here from the resources section of your dashboard. This is what you're going to click. And one of the very first things we ask you to do is to get active on social, in particular, making a post to your personal Facebook page and then finding groups and posting in there. It's super easy to do. It could be done in less than an hour, and it could be extremely effective. All right, Justin is following up saying we didn't ask how that client came to be, but is going to try and find out more the next time they talk. That's excellent. I would be very curious what the origin of that lead is. Mike has sold a website this morning to a memoir creation company in New York. Found you through a New York dedicated silo landing page that I have. I'm also in talks with a woman who is a referral about a website for her commercial cleaning company in California. That's awesome. So Mike is doing something called silo landing pages, which are like hyper specific pages on his marketing site that talk about a specific industry that we have a theme for. It's a very intelligent way to do marketing. And I promise we'd still do a webinar on this to let Mike talk about how he does it, because I think everyone would like to hear about his success. Linton has sold a sewer and drain cleaning site since the last time we talked. That's fantastic news. Those are good industries to go after. Joe has got a couple of wins today to share. First, he started culling through his leads, trying to figure out where the lowest hanging fruit are. That's a very smart thing to do. And the second is he received a box of business cards today. That is awesome, man. When you get your first batch of business cards and you're like, I don't know if you were on for, I think 2 weeks ago, we did a holiday webinar, which was talking about how to basically connect with people at whatever holiday parties and things like that that you'll be attending this season. We have it up on our YouTube if you guys want to check it out. But it's actually a really cool. I have some really great recommendations that specifically have worked for me in selling websites to, I'm not going to say friends and family, but to people in my network. A couple of them were friends and family. And I have a whole pricing thing on here, like how you might discount sites for your immediate family and extended family and stuff like that. So if you guys haven't seen this video, go check it out. I think you'll get something out of it. Kevin says, I had a lady fill out a form on my website because she found me on Google. All right. Excited to start working with her. That's awesome. What kind of business is it, Kevin? I would love to hear that. All right. Next up, we got Andre has had one client referred her husband and his 2-floor covering businesses. Oh, I'm sorry. They're floor covering businesses, not 2-floor covering businesses. Got it. Well, that's awesome. I think it's something in my eye. And one client referred her husband and his 2-floor covering businesses. That's awesome. Very, very good. Soraya says, waiting for my logo, but I did launch my site and added it to all my social media accounts as of 2 days ago. Bravo, Sarai. Very good. Still having issues getting in touch with clients, but I'm sure I will find a few today. Yep, that is the name of the game, Sarai. It's just sticking to it. Consistency always wins over self-doubt. If you are consistent with your actions, you will find success. I promise. Especially if you're doing recommended activities and not just kind of winging it. If you are abiding by the things that we recommend in the 14-day launch plan, I promise you're not going to be disappointed with the results that you get as long as you're doing the work. Okay. Um, and I just want to leave you, on this topic. I have a piece of advice that I would recommend that you will you abide by. So most people think that the hard part is getting started, but the reality is that the hard part is actually consistently doing the work when the excitement kind of wears off. That's the hard part. Your inability to work for an extended period of time without reward will hurt your potential far more than your lack of talent or anything else. Your inability to work for an extended period of time without reward will hurt your potential far more than your lack of talent or anything else. You all, I think, could benefit from that reminder. Jason just launched an event planner site yesterday. Um, cool. All right. I love these wins, guys. Thank you so much for participating in this. We have about 30 people on right now, so it's a relatively small group, which means we should be able to get to everyone's questions the best we possibly can. So let's begin. The questions that have come in prior to today's session, guys, if you're not aware of this, we send out emails, we ask for your questions ahead of time. Sometimes we could do some preparation work and then answer questions a little bit more intelligently. Sometimes it does not offer a benefit, but it guarantees that you'll have a much better chance of getting a question answered. So we're going to start with Augusto, who is here and who submitted a question beforehand, asked about pricing. And more specifically, can you explain the process of how pricing works in quoting for a client? So I would very much encourage you to in the training videos, we do talk extensively about how to figure out what your pricing is going to be. But I'll give you the real short cliff notes. Okay. When you're just getting started, the absolute minimum I would suggest that you set up your pricing with is $499 upfront and $49 per month. In fact, it's even on the marketing site that we give you. So if you change nothing about your marketing website, you would see our standard minimum suggested retail pricing. Once you get some clients in the door, because $499 plus $49 a month is almost impossible to say no to when you show them a beautiful functioning optimized site like what you can build on SiteSwan with our themes, they'd be a fool to not proceed at that price point. Once you get some traction, once you get some confidence, then you can start to increase both your setup and your monthly fee. I see a lot of our clients are $100 per month or more. A lot of our clients that are $1,000 for the setup fee or more. So it's all a matter of just establishing a clientele, bringing in that recurring income, getting some people to say yes, the confidence that comes with that. Then you have a portfolio and you could talk about the success your clients have had and then start selling clients at a much higher price point. So do not second guess your ability to charge for the websites you are selling. and don't overthink it. Start with something, see how it goes. Always, you can always modify, tweak, or enhance your pricing at any point in time. Okay. Any questions on that? You can follow up. Sammy's saying, do you have any plans on incorporating AI into SiteSwan? I envision entering a well-formed prompt or discussing a project with AI and having the SiteSwan platform build a website. Not unlike what you have with templates, but with AI generating new, unique templates for us. So, yeah, Sammy, we do have a lot of plans. I'll tell you what the most frustrating thing about AI is, and that is the inconsistency. We've noticed more and more and more, especially lately, it seems, that you can get sometimes some really great content from um, AI LLMs, and then you can get some awful stuff. And the inconsistency is something that we are not okay with. We are not okay with being inconsistent to you. We are not okay with giving you a subpar experience when it comes to quality or reliability. And that is something that we are consistently weighing very heavily. Now, as AI gets better, we're able to lean a little bit more heavily on it, and we're inching closer to the ability to offer something like what you're describing. But we're not going to put out something that we don't feel really, really confident in. And it's purely because of the inconsistencies. If you ever used any sort of AI, at times it's really, really wonderful. It does the job. And then sometimes you're just so sorely disappointed and you can't fix it. Like, for example, this week, I was like doing like this big AI binge. And I I did what I was supposed to do with like submitting images of myself to create like an AI avatar. And I'm gonna call it stupid AI kept producing images that looked nothing like me. Nothing like me. And it was like I watch other people do it and they're having success, and then it just kept failing. I don't know if I have like the type of face that AI does is not compliant with. I don't know. But it was frustrating. I'm like, gosh, like I wanted to just like quit AI completely after that. I'm like, that's it, I'm done with this. And that's the type of thing that often happens, that when you're relying on AI, it's tricky because you get such inconsistent results, and we just don't want to create an inconsistent experience for you. So we're getting there because we're getting where the technology is getting better, and also we're getting better at working with it. We're getting there. That's what I can say. On the topic of AI, Quidel just asked this question: what to say if or when someone asks if the website will use AI? So I don't think it matters how you answer that question. The short of it is that the we rely on some elements of AI currently, as pretty much every business does, to be able to produce the types of themes that we do at the pace we do. You probably have noticed that the themes that you're using to build sites for your clients are sometimes the absolute best like the best site for that industry on the internet, period. Because we do a ton of research, we take our time and we review everything we need to get this right. And we will leverage AI in the process to assist us with that. But it's always a human overwrite, I guess you could say. So, if someone asks if the website will use AI, how do you answer that question? Well, uh, it's tough because, like, depending on who's asking the question, you either will really make someone happy if you say either answer, right? If you say yes, they'd be like, "Oh, great, because that's cutting edge." Or if you say no, they'd be like, "Good, because it sucks." So there's probably no real right answer, because technically you're not really engaging with AI to build the site, but yet our platform is in some ways reliant on AI. So choose your own adventure there. I don't have a recommended answer. I've never faced that question before. If someone did ask me that today, I'd probably say that we leverage AI for some elements of the site design, but I'm building this site for you myself. That's probably the way I would answer that question. And also know, who knows what the future will hold, right? I mean, you can't say that you'll never use AI on the site. I'm sure that if they asked you, Oh, oh, do me a favor and add this information about an upcoming event we have where our it's a chiropractor. Our prospects will learn about lower back pain and how to resolve it. Okay, that's their thing. Like, put this thing on my site. It's Tuesday at 2 p.m. at the library about lower back pain. Wouldn't you want to put something a little bit more than that on the site? But that's all the client's giving you. And if you ask them for more, they're not going to give you more, right? So a great use of AI when it comes to website design would be to prompt a ChatGPT or a Gemini, whatever. Hey, I'm working on a website for my chiropractor client, and they're hosting an event about lower back pain. Can you help me write a short introductory paragraph that would entice people to inquire about or register for this upcoming event? And presto changeo, you are going to have a nice little paragraph there. So to say that it'll never use AI, I think would probably be misleading because if you're a forward-thinking web designer, you're probably going to have a pretty good reason to use it at some point. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, Jackie says Google wants me to put tags on each page for Google advertising that my client is doing. Where do these tags go? So, I don't know if anyone else has had questions like this where their client is doing Google Ads, and it will sometimes require that a little snippet of code get injected into the site so that Google can recognize which site visitors are coming to the site. It's a cool thing because then they could track behavior of people on the site and measure when people sign up and make the ads function smarter next time. So, if you were to do that, usually, it is it's a site-wide HTML thing. So, what that means is that you want to be able to put this snippet of code on every single page of the site. So, what you would do is you would go to any of your sites that you are looking to do this to, and you can go into edit and just click on the link to get into the editor. And from the editor, you are going to go up to the top where it says settings, and then you are going to select HTML code. Now you have to follow the instructions that Google gives you because sometimes they will tell you to put it in the header of the HTML, and sometimes they will tell you to put it in the body of the HTML. And they might specify the top of the body area or the bottom or footer of the body area. So that's why we give you three different boxes, three different places to plug this information, and they give you. Follow the instructions. If you don't understand the instructions and not sure what box to put it in, just reach out to us at support, and we will help you understand their language so that you can pop it into the right box. Soraya says, how do I add videos to clients' websites? Also, how do I add pricing for sales sites? This may be user error. Okay, so when I'm talking about videos and adding those to the client websites, there's a couple different ways to do it depending on the use case. So, generally speaking, when I hear a client ask me about putting a video on the site, unless it's like a videographer or something, they generally are just looking to do a video that is going to explain what their business is all about, or it's an overview or something like that. Soraya, if you have a very specific um, request that came in about adding video to a site, please follow up with another question so I can know that. Otherwise, I will just answer it the best way I know how on the information you provided. So, what you are going to do again on any page of your site, you are going to find the video post option. Now, depending on where you want this on the site, you might pop it, actually, you might swap this out with an introductory video that tells the story about the business. So there's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can edit this, okay? And one of the things that's really cool, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the standard way of doing this. So I'm going to go to Add New Section. Okay. All I did, guys, I clicked Add New Section. This little button that pops up, and you roll over any item on your page, and then you are going to scroll down and find video. Click video. Click Add to Site. So this is the standard layout we give you for video. You can modify it, but this is the standard layout. All you have to do is go into edit it, and then you are going to replace the video with whatever URL you want on the internet. So the one requirement when adding video to your client site is that the video already exists on YouTube or Vimeo. And the reason for that, quite frankly, is that we're able to leverage the bandwidth that Vimeo and YouTube are paying for. so that we don't end up accidentally slowing down your site with all the bandwidth required to host the video. They've mastered video playing on every device, operating system, tablet, smartphone, you name it. So it's always going to work. So we're leveraging that to make things easier for you. And let's also be honest about something. If your client wants people to view the video that they made, they'd be a fool not to put it onto YouTube, which is the second largest search engine in the world, and Vimeo, which is, I think, the second largest video hoster in the world. So those are two excellent places for the video to live for many other reasons. And now once that video is on there, you can copy paste the YouTube URL right into this box, click OK, and it updates. Now, this is for a video that's going to play with sound and everything, and it plays in line, meaning when you press play, it plays right here. So depending upon the size of the video that you put here is going to determine the size that it's going to play back. You have that control by clicking on style. You can move it to the right side. You can move it underneath the text. And when you see this option here for video size, this is regarding the width. So this is currently half the width. So if I bump it back to the left, you'll see it takes about half the screen. But if I go to 2/3, it's going to expand even more. I can only select full when I have the video set to be under or above my text. That's the only time it can be full. And when it gets full, it gets nice and big and stretches out um, in a big way. This is not always the ideal way to play a video on the site, but we give you that option anyway because who knows? Maybe that's what you want for some reason. The second way that you can add video to your site is in a background. Some people will use a video background in the hero image, the main section of the site. If you were to do that for a more dramatic appeal on the site, you are going to edit your hero image post, go to style, and you are going to remove the image. You are going to go video, and then you're going to add a video. Okay. So we are actually, did you have to remove the image? I could be making a mistake right now. You don't have to remove the image. I take that back. Just select from the media dropdown video, and then you can add the video same exact way, paste the YouTube URL in, and you're done. Now this video is going to play in the background, which is cool. So it really brings the site to life and gets the attention of visitors pretty quickly. Next question comes from Steve. Steve would like to be able to underline text, not linking, just underline. Can we set the default color to, okay. So we don't have an underline feature yet in what we call the WYSIWYG, which for those of you who don't know, WYSIWYG is a what you see is what you get editor. We don't have underlined, quite frankly, because we ran out of room and we thought it wasn't that important. We could easily add it. It was just like, well, how wide are we going to make this thing and how obtrusive is it going to be when nobody's asking for it? But we could, we can condense all of the bold, italic, whatever, to like a drop up, kind of like this, or even one of these. And then you can select bold, italic, underline, whatever. It comes a little tricky if you want to do bold and underline and italic, because then it's requiring all these extra clicks just to get the most commonly used options for bold and italic. If anybody else has been craving an underline feature, just do me a favor and just type underline as your question. I'm going to count those up at the end and see if how many of you, our power players here, who are attending a live session on Friday afternoon, are interested in that feature. So thank you for that, Steve. I appreciate it. Let's go on to next question I saw come through. All right, Steve also asked, how should we be adding, should we be adding JSON LD schema markup to our site pages? So if you don't know what that is, don't worry, because what we have found is that that is overkill. Basically, so there are a lot of things that you supposedly could do or should do to make your sites come up better in search results. But the truth is that all of it is just overcompensating for having platforms that suck at getting SEO. Okay. That's the best way I could say it. The reason why so many things exist out there for search engine optimization, enhancements to your site, add this code, is purely because so many platforms just inherently suck at getting the attention of the search engines. When we built SiteSwan in 2011, okay, we're celebrating 14 years this year. One of the core foundational pillars of what we're building is that it has to speak the same language as the search engines. It has to. tell the search engines what the site is all about without having to do anything fancy. No code, no drama, no baloney. Now, with that said, if you wanted to maximize the amount of search engine visibility that you can get for your clients, then watch this video. This is the updated SEO checklist, which is also available in the resources section of your dashboard. If you're brand new, you're like, it's been updated. Don't worry about it. It's the SEO checklist. And it's right over here. This is the document, SEO checklist, and it's a PDF. You can just go through. There's 15 items on there or so. And they're great recommendations for how you can optimize the site for SEO even further than what our platform does for you naturally. Okay? Don't get tangled up in all that code. Justin says, do you recommend an agency for social media marketing slash ads? Our new client wants that as an add-on. Social media marketing slash ads. I hope they got money because running ads on social media doesn't come cheap. I don't have a good recommendation for social media agencies. They have all disappointed me in so many different ways over the years. The moment that I get one that is reliable and that can do a decent job, I promise I will share it with each and every one of you. I want to tell the whole world about it. Um, it's a little tricky. If you want to get really good at it, Justin, and the thing is that it's not like it doesn't require extensive knowledge. What it does, however, is require time. Time getting up to speed and the time on an ongoing basis to make sure it's functioning the way it should. So it's something anybody could learn. It just takes time. And an agency will generally charge. I mean, if you have, let's just say, let's say you have a $500 a month budget for this is what I'm willing to spend on social media ads. At least 150 of that is going to the agency to manage it. At least. So, unless they want to do it themselves, which I'm not going to recommend. It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. All right. What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? Um All right, John says, when I show or send a one-page demo, the buttons on the demo page goes to the hidden page site. Is there a way to cut off the buttons so they don't forward to the hidden pages like contact or about? So so all right, let me just read this again to make sure I understand it. When I show or send a one-page demo, the buttons on the demo page goes to the hidden page site. Is there a way to cut off the buttons so they won't forward to the hidden pages like contact or about? So, you can do two different things, all right? And let me just reiterate what I'm hearing John say, okay? Man, I should have had my afternoon coffee. So check this site out, okay? This is straight up off the demo, off the theme, okay? I built this site just yesterday off the theme. So there's something we usually recommend you doing when you're about to present a website to someone, and it's to go to the interior pages of the site and just basically go down the line and just hide them. So you got, 5 or 4 pages that you're going to do this to. Hide, 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 hide. I sometimes leave the footer on there because it just looks weird with absolutely nothing on it. So I'll leave the footer, go to the services page, hide, 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 and we're done. Okay. Now, the reason I do this is because some of the things on the home page are going to link to the interior pages. Okay. So now if someone clicks on this link or on this link, it's simply going to take them to a blank empty page. Why do we do this? We do it because we don't want to show the client that we finished the site. We also want to, because that could sometimes minimize the amount of value perceived value. And we also want to be able to give the client a reason for them to give us their credit card. Because if they give us the credit card, we can make the promise that we'll immediately rush to finish the rest of the site and have it launched hopefully in the next 2 days. That incentive to act now is super important in the website sales process. So that's our preferred way to do it. An alternative way to do it, which I don't prefer, but it sounds like maybe you're doing, John, and it technically could work, is you go to manage pages and basically you edit these pages to not appear in the navigation. So now the about just disappears from the nav. So you're like, oh, great. The page is hidden. No one can find it. Yeah, they still can because if I click on these buttons, they're going to go to that page. So if I wanted to disable that, I would go to edit and I would actually modify where these link and just go all to my homepage. But that's work you're just going to have to undo. And I think that might be a little more tedious than simply hiding the posts on the other pages because now, like if I wanted to restore the information that appeared on the interior pages, all I'd have to do is simply go to the page and click show, 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 show. This is probably a 45-second activity is to go through these interior pages and click show or click hide. So that's my preferred recommended method for showing off a website. It's going to be hide the content on the interior pages. If they end up on an interior page, that's perfectly fine. Okay. It's perfectly fine. Let's see. Next question is from Henry. Henry says, in my local area, 10 to 20 mile radius, there is a lot of opportunity for daycare centers, many without websites. We currently have 2 templates for daycare centers. Will we get additional templates for that category? What would you suggest? Try not to have them look exactly like. Henry, how many daycare centers have you currently sold? If you can, just put your answer in the questions. How many daycare centers have you currently sold? Henry, sold 3. Excellent job. So I'm assuming that you have used at least 2 of the themes that we have, right? Um, if you showed me those 3, I think what I would probably notice is that with each daycare facility, you have different names, naturally, perhaps a different primary color. You've perhaps chosen a different font to align with their logo. Same with the color, aligns with their logo. Um, and if they had specific photos that they thought were great of their facility, of their staff, of their things like that, swapping out photos is obviously important. What most of us don't realize is that by changing a few core elements like the logo, the colors, the fonts, and some photos, you are going to make the site look very, very different from the other sites. But um, and even if you did things like, change the button shape, like some of you don't realize these little design things can have a huge, huge impact. Like if I go to buttons right now, okay, and I increase the radius, I can actually turn my buttons in like the shape of a pill. You see that? I can add a border on my buttons. I can actually turn on or off a shadow. These little things are going to be global change that happen throughout the entire site and can actually have small little impacts on your design. If I went to my design and chose different fonts, like I was alluding to, and I take a different style font, one that's a little bit more playful or one that's a little bit more professional, you are going to find that the site's going to immediately have a different look and feel. So those are also important things to do. Sometimes changing textures or patterns in the background are helpful as well. But I will say this, Henry. One of the things that's super important to us is that the people who have been with us and the people who have proven themselves in their ability to sell sites um, can continue to do so. And I find that if you found a niche and you're focusing on it, I think you deserve a lot of credit for the hustle associated with that. So do me a favor. I'm going to talk to my moderator. Actually, I'm going to ask my moderators to just reach out to you via support ticket. I want to personally have a look at the sites that you've built so far. I want to make a couple of quick recommendations to you, and also want to see if we could do something for you. So, I think Brian, you might know what we want to do. Um, All right. So next up, and thank you for that, Henry, and congratulations on selling those 3 deals. We got Joe. He says, can you have a here image that is a slider of several images and have a text overlay as we see here? So back on the homepage of this particular site, you absolutely can do that in the form of a video. We don't currently support multiple images in the here image, but that is something that is on our to-do list. The problem, I will say this, Joe, there is a problem with that. The biggest problem with having rotating images is that the composition of the photo, like we don't just take whatever photo and slap it in the background behind these here images, okay? We put a lot of time and effort into figuring out what is the right composition of an image that's going to accompany text that is going to be, in this case, left justified. And clearly, having the composition where a person holding a shoe is more offset to the right side of the image is extremely beneficial for this to look good. This photo didn't start out this way. You also notice we have this overlay on the left-hand side, which is like this. I'll show you actually. So one of the really cool things that we do is that in a lot of the themes that we put together, we'll do this transparency fade so that if we were to change our, let me just see if I go to this and see if it's one of my colors. Hello, Justin. Colors, not fonts. Does this affect it? Let me see. Have we done that? Oh, look how cool that is. Guys, look how cool that is. So when you change one of the brand colors, you are going to be able to have a significant impact throughout the entire site, including on really well-designed themes like this, where, one click can completely change the look and feel there because of that overlay. So if I were just to swap this out with different images, it would be, in my opinion, pretty important that they also fade to transparency on the left-hand side to create this consistent look from one photo to the next, and that the core of the image is actually more right justified as well. I'm saying a lot here, but ultimately my answer is it's on the agenda regardless. Just it comes with, coming with that territory is that you're going to be mindful. Is the content that I have overlaying my image going to be compatible with all the images that are going to appear here? One way you can get around that is by doing something called a background box in your hero image. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this feature or not, but when you are working on a hero image post where we're having text on top of an image or video, you have a background box option you can turn on. And the background box option does exactly this, creates a background behind the text to increase the contrast between the image and the text. So if you wanted a little cheat for, if you were to have an image that's just not 100% perfect for your hero image, throw a box behind the text to offset whatever contrast issues you might have. Because sometimes, like depending on the person's skin tone, the white text could not be compatible with that, and you wouldn't be able to see the text very well because of the light colored background. In a very small way, this word right here is slightly hard to read because it's white and the background is white-ish, if you know what I mean. Okay? Okay. All right. These are great questions today. I'm having a lot of fun doing this with you guys today. Kitel, and if I'm butchering your name, I really apologize. I want to pronounce it 4 different ways, and I just don't know. Kitel, my cousin reached out to me about making her a website for her fairly new skincare products business. Does it make sense selling her a site to promote her products but sell in person? So ah, all right. Here's the deal. If the sole purpose of the website is to sell stuff online, like if the sole purpose of the business is to sell physical products and they want to do it online, it's not a good fit. Do they have a means to sell it in person? Do they have a physical location at all they're selling products in? Do they have a distributorship with any other, brick and mortar businesses? Those are some questions I would ask before I would encourage you to just go and build a site. So I would recommend getting that information first. If this is something where there is a physical place that people can go and you can get them search traffic for that, then yes, go ahead. But if they still want the ability to purchase online, unless it's like a handful of items, I don't suggest going down that road, especially not one of your first sites. I would recommend probably getting them set up where they can sell somewhere else. Look, it's not even that hard to sell on Amazon. Um, if they were to sell on Etsy, if they were to sell somewhere like that, then you can build a site that talks about the product and the story and the history and the mission statement and all that stuff, and have a big button that says "Shop Now." And it could take you to whatever online experience they want to do for shopping. Um, but if again their one and only sole purpose of the site is just to sell stuff, then a SiteSwan site's not going to be the perfect solution for them because they're always going to want a little bit more, and you're not going to be able to do it without deeply regretting your life decisions. Um, all right. What do we got next? Next up, Jamie says, "Is there any white label instructions and/or video we can give to a client with a tutorial on how to make updates and changes to their website on their own?" We used to have this. Let me just make sure we still do. Here it is. White label website owner handbook. This is something you can give to your clients so they can manage the site themselves. I will say, with a bit of warning though, Jamie, it's always my advice never to just hand this over to them and say, "Let me know if you got questions." I always like to fight clients on granting access to them. It's like, wait, am I not doing these updates fast enough for you? Do you not like the way they look on the site? And here's the deal, guys. Even though the SiteSwan platform is very easy and you're able to pick it up no problem, and it's simple and anyone can do it, you are inherently going to know a heck of a lot more than them about the platform. And you're going to know best practices, tricks, and techniques that you're going to continue to get better at and learn over time to make the process of adding content to their site and updating their site super, super fast and easy. While it may be easy for them too, you're going to do a better job. I can almost guarantee you that. And and if they happen to mess up and delete something or ruin it, you're going to have to fix it. So it's going to fall on you anyway. My suggestion is always to fight them and basically say, "Hey, look, you know, what is it about the way I'm updating the site for you that's leaving you wanting more?" And just find out what they say. "Oh, you're too slow. It doesn't look good." Blah, 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 blah. And then, can you do something to improve that? Reach out to us if you get an answer like that. Like tell me it doesn't look good. All right, reach out to us. Maybe we can go offer you a suggestion for improvement on how you're adding content to your client sites and make it better. Qtel. All right, Qtel. I now know how to pronounce your name, and I promise I will try not to forget that. Okay, Qtel. That was actually one of the ways I was envisioning you might pronounce your name. Enrique says, once you make a sale, how do you ask for the domain information to set up in the new website? Some people may not have any idea what I'm asking them for. Great question, Enrique. And in our video that we just posted a little while ago, referencing our YouTube quite a bit today, we have where is our domain webinar? Um, when did we talk about domains? It wasn't that long ago. Here it is. This webinar you are going to find super, super helpful because we go over this question and a lot more. If you have any hesitancy about domains, this will squash all of your concerns in a matter of 30 minutes, guaranteed. So when it comes to the domain for your client and you're like, hey, okay, so you have a domain. So can I get the website? Can I get the domain login information? And they're just look at you like this, huh? So then what you have to do is you have to find whatever their domain name is. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to whois.com, whois.com. And on the top where it says, not in here, not in here, up top where it says who is search, you're going to type their domain name in. And 9 times out of 10, when you do this, it's going to tell you where the domain was registered. So it's going to tell you it was GoDaddy, it was Network Solutions, it was Cheap and Easy Domains, it was whatever. Okay. Then with that information, You can now share that with the client, and I guarantee you're going to watch their eyes go like this. Huh, to, oh, yeah, I got an email from them. It's going to ring a bell for them, the place where they bought their domain name from. Okay. That is a huge help in getting people to locate their login information because they don't know where the heck to log in. You tell them, oh, it's GoDaddy. Oh, yeah, I get emails from GoDaddy all the time. I'll give you my login, and that's it. Or at least you know where you can go to reset the password. That is critical to getting access to the domain. All right. Anthony says, do the SiteSwan sites/themes meet minimum ADA compliance requirements without needing to add an additional plugin? Do you know what the basic requirements are? Are there any other requirements that are needed to be included when selling sites? So, ADA compliance is the least black and white thing in the world. It is a big gray box of mystery. There is no true AD, like there is no stamp you can get for being ADA compliant. There is none. And also because of the fact that a website could change at any moment, meaning you can add a new piece of content that's technically not compliant, you can never get approved or be told that you're compliant. The biggest things that so okay, let me just go back a half a step. There are things about the way the site is built, meaning the structure behind the scenes that we are continuously optimizing for to make sure that the buttons are coded the right way, that the form fields are labeled the right way. Because people with visual disabilities or hearing disabilities rely on what are called screen readers, and screen readers will basically tell the user what appears on the site and if they're unable to experience it in the same way that most other people can. So the screen reader depends on certain things in the code to be able to function properly. So that's what we are always optimizing for, is to make sure that anyone who's using an assisted device like that can get a very good quality experience by using the site. So you're in the green there. But here's something that like we'd never be able to do for you if you were to make an edit. I talked about contrast before, okay? And this is probably one of the biggest things that sometimes get people mixed up is like if I went and edited my overlay color to be white, okay? This text is becoming harder and harder for me to be able to read. As I lighten up the background, my text becomes more difficult to decipher from the background. Lots of people will put out sites where it's like dark green text on a light green background or like light blue text on a dark blue background. That doesn't work well for people with visual impairments. They cannot see this text. You may not be able to see this text. So, in all the themes that we put out, we are hyper aware of the fact that we're putting out text with a really good contrast from the text to the background. All right. Um, so that is something that you're going to be mindful of if you're making edits to the colors or anything like that, is to make sure that you can read all the text super, super easy. There are some tests you can run that are contrast tests, and they'll rate your color choices for you. So you'll know, okay, this is, technically what is recommended or it's not recommended, and you can make adjustments like that. Other things that you could do, and there's a long list of these, but just give you a couple, quick ideas. It's something called alt text. So alt text is like when you mouse over an image, you're going to see an option that tells you, and it's on the bottom right of my screen. You probably can't read it, but it'll basically tell you what is about this image. It's also embedded into the code and the file name of the image. So if someone cannot view the image, the screen reader will actually read off the alt text, which is the alternate text for the image to make it easy for someone who can't see it. I honestly think that like AI has like its biggest opportunities in this area of like, web presence, web design stuff. Like if AI could describe a photo to somebody on a screen reader, I think that would be so much better than relying on a person to type in a description of what's happening in this photo. I mean, what's really weird about like the whole alt image thing, if I'm just going to vent for a minute, The idea that the people who are concerned about ADA compliance are insisting on alt text. They're basically saying, okay, well, what's the big deal? Just describe this photo and put it in the code for the site. Like, all right, the phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Yeah. How? How the heck am I supposed to describe what's happening in this photo short of 1,000 words? Like, if I want to do it properly, you can't, right? And the last thing you want is a screen reader describing every little detail about this image. So I think AI actually is a big opportunity to help people with impairments understand what's happening on the site. I think that's a huge opportunity there. But to ultimately answer your question, we're doing a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. All the stuff you might have to worry about is going to be very front facing. Things you're adding to the site, things you're modifying on the site. Just keep in mind, like, hey, if I was coming to the site and I had to, if I had difficulty seeing what are some things I'd probably expect out of the site. Things to be a little larger, things to be a little easier to click, things to be, stuff like that. I'll tell you, like, one of the things that we've been mindful of is, like, there is a set amount of space that ADA compliance states you should have between different clickable items. So we've made sure that everything, like our buttons and our navigation, is separated by enough nickel pixels space so that someone who has difficulty seeing or interacting doesn't have to be pixel perfect with where they click in order to be able to click on the thing they want to click on. So those are the things we're doing behind the scenes. Like, you can't physically move the navigation items any closer together and then cause an ADA compliance issue. All right. What else can I answer for you guys? We're coming up on the hour right now. Um, I don't think I missed anything, did I? Ty, good to see you. We got a lot of people on here today. Jason's here. Bill's here. Mylan, welcome back, Mylan. Anthony, Diane, and David, and Brian. Dwight's here as well. Cool. Last call for questions. Last call. I'll do, well, yeah, maybe that's it. So, all right. So I want to leave you with this thought. I'm going to leave you with two things today. The first thing is that next week, we're going to be hosting a live session that's going to be a recap of some of the biggest things that we've done on our platform in 2025. And we're going to have a little section at the end where we're going to encourage a little bit of open dialogue for new feature requests. So if you want to be a part of that session, it's happening next week on Thursday, December 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Same time as today, but on Thursday of next week, we're going to do a recap of my 15 favorite features that we have released 2025. We don't make a big announcement about every feature that we release. So sometimes things get out there and you guys don't know about it, or you may not know about it, or maybe you're brand new and you have really no idea. I'm going to point out some really cool things that we've done. All right. I'm going to leave you with this thought today because today's Friday. And what I mean by that is uh, it's very easy just to say, well, the week's almost over. Maybe I'll just stop here. I did my training session with Justin and the crew, and things went well, and I learned some stuff. I'm good. Let me encourage you to not say that. Let me encourage you to go out there, close out the rest of your Friday, and shoot, man, work this weekend. Okay. Let's get a site sold. This is a great time of year to sell a site. The most dangerous person in the world is the person who continues to show up every single day to put in the work. Your potential is determined by the amount of uncertainty you're able to withstand while continuing to put in the work. I'll say that one last time. Your potential is determined by the amount of uncertainty you are able to withstand while continuing to put in the work. Do not slack off. Do not take a break when you are fighting to earn yourself recurring revenue that you can count on and rely on month after month, year after year. Because there's people on here who I know hustle their butts off and who I know are bringing in good recurring revenue every month. And that's something I want each and every one of you to do. All right. So go get it. It's Friday. I'm letting you have 4 minutes early so you can go make some phone calls and close some deals. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you on Thursday of next week. We'll have some fun. Talk to you later.